90% of every dream that you have or will ever have can be achieved through leadership. 90% of every fear or obstacle that you have today or that you will ever have can be overcome with leadership. And that's at the personal level or the organizational level. There's not enough innovation in the company. You have a problem with your leaders. You have bad customer service. You have a problem with your leaders. You have trouble retaining talent. That's a leadership problem. As you're sitting there, you're probably going, I don't lead anybody. I don't have a team, so that means I can't access that 90%? No. Leadership is action, not position. Whether you lead 15,000 like I did at Brinks, or you lead yourself. Leadership is about doing something, taking action, making a movement. It is not about a team. So that means nobody can hold you back from your 90%. No one can take your power away. Great leadership equals IQ times CQ times EIQ. And IQ, the ability to learn, our God-given horsepower. It's important. CQ is our desire to learn. You can't have the genes and the makeup to be an Olympic athlete and have no desire to train to become an Olympic athlete. And your emotional intelligence. That is your ability to recognize your own emotions and emotions in others, and then being able to take that and incorporate that into your decision making. And once again, a zero in any of these three zeroes out the equation. So you have to find balance. And when you find balance, you will find that you unlock great leadership. So you have the power. Leadership can give you anything that you want in your life and overcome your fears. You are leaders because you can take action, and now you have the formula for great leadership. What is the purpose of the back wheel in a bicycle? Traction. Propulsion. Power. What is the purpose of the front wheel? Direction. Maybe even stability. Without the front wheel, you riding on a unicycle is probably not as stable as it can be. And so in real life, when I used to ride and I had my spectacular crashes, not a single time did I crash because of my back wheel. Every single time I crashed because I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the expertise with my front wheel. So when we look at this in our leadership and our career, our back wheel is our brain power. Your back wheel is your formal education, your technical, your functional expertise, and your technical capabilities. But when we talk about front wheels, the things that get you into trouble, that make you crash, you're talking about your intellectual curiosity and your ability to connect with boss and peers and your team. We're talking about interpersonal skills. We're talking about the establishment of trust. We're talking about your emotional savvy, your enthusiasm, your belief, your optimism, and your humility. And I reiterate, not once have I got in trouble by my back wheel. It's always been, I made a mistake with my front wheel, a miscalculation with the front wheel. There is not a straight line between point A and point B. Point B is always moving. So you have to build capabilities and skills with the front wheel. Be focused. Focus on your front wheel. You are past your back wheel. Your back wheel is. You can go get some extra certifications and accreditations, you're past that. But you have to be focused on your front wheel. I am getting a flurry of calls in now about trust. How do we build organizational trust? And right now, as a leader, you have a leadership challenge. You are challenged to build a high-trust team in a low-trust world. And this is just not supposition. This is data. So Gallup has been doing this poll for 45 years. And it looks at all the institutions from military to public schools, banks, the criminal justice system, and there's a trust factor associated with it. If you look at the top, you have the military with a top score of 73%. The military has been number one since May 1973, every single poll. For 45 straight years, it has been the most trusted organization. And so it makes you wonder, well, what's going on? It can't be luck. This is what I'm getting calls about. Big business is the second worst. A trust score of 18. But it's important and critical that you build a high trust organization. Why? Think about it this way. When trust is low in a company or in a relationship, it places a hidden tax on every transaction, every communication, every interaction, every strategy. Every decision is taxed, bringing the speed down and sending costs up. My experience is that significant distrust doubles the cost of doing business and triples the time it takes to get things done. By contrast, individuals and organizations that have earned and operate with a high trust experience an opposite of a tax. They experience a dividend, a multiplier, enabling them to succeed in their communications, interactions, decisions, and move with incredible speed. A recent Watson study showed that high-trust companies outperform low-trust companies by nearly 300%. And so this is your challenge. We owe it to our stakeholders and shareholders to build a high-trust organization in spite of a low-trust world. So this can't be accidental. This hyper-focus on front-wheel stuff, this hyper-focus on character, and 45 straight years of being the most trusted organization that we have. That trust relationship is everything. So the military's hyper-focus is all about trust. Now it's time for the superpower. You think you already got the superpower, but you haven't got the superpower yet. There's more to come. CHQ, your chronological quotient. Don't Google it or Bing it. It's mine. I made it up. It belongs to me. All that is the ability to recognize, evaluate, integrate, and awareness of time and its passing. We are instinctually conditioned to ignore the passage of time. It scares us. Time is finite, and so we figure out ways to lose it. But time is the great equalizer. And what I found time and time again is the most successful people are successful at figuring out the management of their time. When you really get your arms around time, it literally is a superpower. And it's 4 simple things, and it can change your life. Number 1, your dreams and your goals. 3 dreams or goals for your professional self. And 2 for your personal. I want to be VP. I want to run $1 billion business. And your personal. I want to be a better brother, mother, father, sister, son. Number 2, fears and obstacles. Whatever you think is holding you back, it is, because you think it is. So write it down. 2 professional, 1 personal. Number 3, start a journal today. Because once you journal, you can't hide from time. And so all I ask you to do is start a journal and make 1 entry a day for the next 60 days. And your 1 entry is answering these 2 questions. What have I done today in pursuit of my dreams or goals? And you answer the second question, what have I done today to overcome an obstacle or a fear? My boss doesn't like me, so I had a one-on-one to try to understand. You're doing something. Or I have a fear of public speaking, I joined Toastmasters. You did something. Write it down. And then the last thing is you got to rate yourself. Give yourself a number, 0 through 10. You already wrote it down, so all you have to do is look at what you wrote down and you go, okay, on my goals and dreams, how would I rate what I did? And on your fears, whatever your score is. If you did a lot and you did enough to give yourself a 10, that's fine. And all you do is average those 2 scores. 5 and 1, your daily average for that day is a 3. And you give yourself a score every day, and then you give yourself a weekly average. You own time. You have an awareness of time, and you have an awareness that that week that you got a 3, you will never have that week again. It's only when we ignore it, when we go in blind to what's happening in our world, that we allow things to get past us. If you're on top of it, it will change you. At the end of 8 weeks, I guarantee you, you will not be the same person that you were at the start of this. If not, call me. And if you're telling me you don't have 5 minutes a day to change your life, then I got a question. Do you really want to change it? Do you really want to make a difference? Make a change. Own it. The power is in your hands. Good luck.